babies.
Mario, let's do some. It's 3 flights. 3 flights up, 3 flights down. Humble brag. Actually, 4. I'm winded. Give me a second.
That makes sense. Yeah, take a breath. Take a breath. Take it.
Let's do a little hockey. Don Sweeney. Goddamn, what a morning! What an absolute fury of a morning. So we wake up to the trade. The Bruins trading for. Well, you had texted us, Ray. You were ahead of the curve here. You were Billy Bombs on this one.
Thank you.
Tyler Bertuzzi coming over from Bill's Red Wings. Very early on. You had sent the text message, and we were waiting. And not soon after that, we got the confirmed trade going down. A first.
Can I stop you real quick?
Yes,
I enjoy when Bill is wrong. And like he was like, no, he's going to the Leafs. You don't know what you're talking about, and you're talking out your ass. You could just feel the vibes coming off the text exchange that he was just trying to make me look like an idiot. Who is right now, motherfucker?
This is a very rare response for anything that goes on, because in that text exchange, all Bill said was, "I heard he might be the Leafs were interested," and Ray's so insecure and hates Bill so much. That's what came out.
Hate Bill? I love Bill.
Well, in your own way. Either way, Billy Bombs didn't have it. You had it, Mario, so good for you. Tyler Bertuzzi coming over, a first-round pick for 2024 and a fourth-round pick. They ate 50% of the salary to make it work. The Bruins still needed to make some roster maneuvers, which we'll get to. Taylor Hall and Foligno now going to the long-term injured list, which was the only bad news of the day, because right after the Bertuzzi news, we got a David Pastrnak extension. Breaking news. 8 years, $90 million, under market value. There were talks of him getting 13 at some point. Obviously, one of the, if in a world where Connor McDavid doesn't exist, David Pastrnak is potentially running away with the MVP, the Conn Smythe this year, if not for his own goalie, who was starting to make a run in Linus Ulmark. So, guys on pace for 60 goals, David Pastrnak is, which would be the first time since Phil Esposito, the only time since Phil Esposito for the Bruins. He did it 4 times. This would be David Pastrnak's first, of course. Something like the 24th guy to do it in league history. So yeah, he earned himself a fucking payday, and he got it. He's getting 11.25 per. But again, the reports were he could get upwards of 12.5, even 13. So a good deal for the Bruins, keeping Pastrnak in tow. Just your opening impressions of the morning for the Bruins, which should cap off their trade deadline after the Orlov and Hathaway deal that they had with the Capitals. They came out this morning and said they're done. We'll see, but they said they're done.
He said he was done the other day too, but
right.
Here we are this morning getting the Tyler Bertuzzi
Chest
news,
first checkers, bitches, is Don Sweeney's world. He was living in it.
Yeah. I mean, obviously you got a long-term injury for Taylor Hall. No, they're saying the surgeries, but he's getting a second opinion. But I mean, he just filled that hole with Tyler Bertuzzi. If he can stay healthy, that's a legit second-line player that you can put up there and score goals. So
can I just interlude?
Yeah, absolutely.
I fill your mother's hole with my Bertuzzi. Bam.
Oh my God.
That was like now you got to do the Dwayne Wade. I'm going to do the Dwayne Wade to LeBron for the fucking, okay. Anyways, but yeah, that's a great move. I mean, you're shoring up. I mean, when Taylor Hall comes back, we're going to play the Lightning role in the playoffs because he's going to be miraculously healed and come back in the playoffs, and we're going to go win the cup now. And I don't care if we're in cap jail for the rest of the time now or we can't shore up anything. If you get a fucking banner and you can hoist that cup, I'm happy for it because it's win now, baby.
Yeah, I mean, the cap situation or the contract situation is a conversation to be had. I think that Orlov and Bertuzzi are now guys that you should sign, and I confirmed it with sources today via our text message exchange, that they do have room to do it. They're working with $20-25 million in cap space next year. If Pastrnak takes up half of that, you can sign 2 veterans with $10 or $12 million, and Orlov and Bertuzzi should be those guys. You spent first-round picks on them. The Bruins are going to go 4 years in a row without a first-round pick. 3 of those 4 years, they won't have a second-round pick. They're going full LA Rams, and I'm for it too. Look, you have to. We said it at the beginning of the year. But if you think about it, right, at the beginning of the year, you started with Marchand, McAvoy, and Grzelcyk, all expected to miss time until like January.
Till February, they were supposed to be out. Yeah.
They all came back a month or two early. You started off you didn't lose for the first 2 weeks of the fucking season. You basically haven't since. They have 8 losses. 8. Single digit. 8. They're still on pace to have the most wins, most points in NHL history. And while everybody around them was making moves, Patrick Kane going there, the Leafs going and getting 2 big defensemen, everybody in the East competing with the Islanders going out there and getting Horvat. Everybody around you was making moves to catch up with you. They didn't stand pat, which is kind of their. I mentioned a couple shows ago that I was afraid that Sweeney was going to kind of pull the Marcus Johansson move and just do enough to get a little bit better, but fall short. No, they pulled the trigger and they went in and did basically what they had to do with what they could do, because cap restrictions are a thing in the NHL, and they didn't have a lot of maneuvering to happen. I think that's why they didn't get Chychrun. They couldn't get enough people to eat enough money to bring him on. But even so, Orlov's been a stud since he walked on the last couple games, and now we'll see what Bertuzzi can do with Hall leaving the lineup.
Well, Bertuzzi was only making $695,000 this year, so 50% of that deal. So you could tell that the Bruins.
Oh, I thought he was at like 4. I would double check.
Keep talking, and
I would double check. Then I think they got him down to like 2.3.
They had to have him pay half of $700,000. That is.
I think they did.
Their cap space is $39,000. Their cap space is what poor is in America. So.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. I don't know what I was looking at then.
That's why they had to drop Hall. They had to get under the cap with the couple of moves that they made, and the injuries just kind of coincided with that.
I was wrong. Mario was wrong. Sorry.
You think that the Bertuzzi move or something like it was in the hopper before those injuries, or do you think that they went out because Hall went down and then Foligno went down in back-to-back games? Do you think they just went, we're not going to risk it? Like, we need a left wing now. Bertuzzi's on the block. Let's just go get him.
Yep, I think that's what happened. Because
you
now
think so. If you think if they didn't get injured, they wouldn't have made that move.
Yeah, because I don't think they would be able to afford it, because now that Hall is on the long-term injury list, I think that salary gets dumped off of there so they can afford to go get Tyler Bertuzzi.
Yeah, they would have had to do some major cap maneuvering.
I think that's the only way they can bring him in is because of the whole.
Yeah, then somebody would have had to leave the NHL roster to fit his money in, even though it was only 2.3, not $400K.
Sorry, my fault.
Nice math there by me. That's something like, what is it, 349 or something like that?
Something like that.
What's half of 760? Fucking do it on your own time. Maybe the injuries did have a big part to play in it, but either way, I'm telling you right now, Tyler Bertuzzi is going to be an upgrade from Taylor Hall. The way Taylor Hall has been playing this year,
he's been playing like caca. Like my pipes, caca.
full of caca. And Taylor Hall in the playoffs last year was a ghost 0. So I bet you Bertuzzi, Hathaway, and Orlov all make significant impacts in this year's playoff run.
Oh, I hope so.
And we'll see how the injuries shake out for Hall and Foligno once we get there.
Well, can I stop you real quick? Because isn't Foligno on injured reserve, and then Taylor Hall's on long-term injured reserve? I think they.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know the full cap implications of those two distinctions, but I thought I heard today that they were going to put Foligno on long-term injured reserve too.
Oh, okay. He's just
on IR.
Now.
You don't count towards the cap.
Long-term.
If you go on long-term on IR, you don't count towards the cap in the regular season.
Interesting.
And then in the playoffs, you can bring everyone back, and you can be
like Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay did it.
Tampa Bay did it a couple years ago, and they were like $14 million over the cap once they got to the playoffs because their best player came off of injury.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Right when the playoffs started,
they went and won the cup. So, yeah, if the Bruins can pull that off with Taylor Hall and Foligno, as much as Taylor Hall has played like shit, he's probably a better option than AJ Greer or whoever else is down there on the fourth line. So, yeah, I'm for it. Manipulate it. Do whatever you can. And until then, yeah, if you want to put Foligno's $3.8 million on the LTIR and bring up some of these other guys from Providence and have a little bit of room to maneuver on the cap for the next, how many weeks are left to the playoffs? 4 or 5. That might be smart. That might be smart. Can I just run the Don Sweeney's on fire? Can I just run down the moves that he's made in the past year and a half?
Mm-hmm.
And you tell me if any of them are bad. Spoiler alert, they're not. I'm going to start with the signing of one Linus Ulmark.
Last year, that was bad.
Last year, we were not a fan of that. He was just an okay goalie that you signed for $5 million, 4 years, when you had the heir apparent coming up in Swayman. And it looked pretty bad. It looked like a real bad signing. This year, he's now currently running per Las Vegas odds, second in MVP, second only to Connor McDavid, who was Wayne Gretzky incarnated. So Pretty good pull from Don Sweeney there, I guess. I guess you got to give him credit on that one.
Absolutely.
A little bit further. So that was a little bit further. That was essentially 2 years ago, a year and a half. So, but closer. Last year's trade deadline is where we'll start this, really. Hampus Lindholm. They went out and acquired him at the deadline. The Bruins gave up Urho Vaakanainen, John Moore, the 2022 first-round pick, 2 second-round picks, and then they signed Lindholm to 8 years, $6.5 million cap hit. He's now in your top pairing. He's been your best all-around defenseman this year at 0.5 point a game. He's been absolutely phenomenal, and he's going to anchor your deep pairing with McAvoy for the next almost decade. Check in that category.
Check plus.
After that, they went ahead and hired Jim Montgomery, Bruce Cassidy, who had the 4th most wins in the NHL in his time for the Bruins. The room had ran dry. It happens in hockey. A game away, if it wasn't for Pooparask's poopy diaper there in Game 7.
Ooh, I like that. That's
like
good.
What I did there. He would have had a cup, but the rumor and dry. Bergeron was threatening retiring. Krejci played with fucking sheep farmers for a year. Pasternak was threatening not to re-sign. They didn't like Bruce Cassidy that much, so they went ahead, fired him, and they hired the drunk old Jimmy Monty, old Monty over there. Cheers to you, buddy.
Cheers.
What a bitch. He must be breaking code a little bit. He's got to be sipping on a little something with the season they're having. A couple cheers with the boys once in a while after the game.
Strip club.
Why wouldn't you? It's
Definitely.
hockey. It seems like something you would do.
Well, the last head coaching job, he was fired for getting blitzed and, I don't know, attempting to molest his boss's wife or something.
Something like that.
That didn't seem to hurt his career at all.
Well, he got fired.
It didn't seem to hurt his career.
And then 5 years later, he's head coach of the best hockey team we've seen since 1972. So, yeah, no. Boys and girls, just keep getting fucked up.
Yep. Doesn't hurt you at all.
Just say yes. Keep saying yes to things. Okay? Don't limit your options.
Probably a good sign for Ime, too.
I don't know if booze and pussy land in the same category.
You said he was hitting on
success.
his boss's wife.
I said he tried to molest her drunkenly.
What's the difference? All right, come on.
I get it. Sorry, I apologize. Semantics. After that, Jim Montgomery, obviously the clear winner there. They very quickly after that, they went and traded for Pavel Zacha, a minor move at the time. They gave up Eric Haula. That was it. Eric Haula's $3 million salary. They brought in Pavel Zacha, who was the number 6th pick overall in that 2015 draft. Sorry, Bill, to mention it. Then they went and signed Zacha for a 4.5 AAV for a couple of years. He's now the second line left wing with Krejci and Pasternak. Has been an absolute stud. Is looking to be your at least second line centerman for the future. A plus 19, 41 points in 60 games. Slam dunk Pavel Zacha. Then you go re-sign Bergeron and Krejci to come back and solidify your top 2 lines. I don't know how much Sweeney has to do with that. Frankly, I think a lot of these moves are based on Bergeron and Krejci developing the culture
getting
over
Jim
the last
Montgomery
18 years.
No, firing Bruce Cassidy and bringing in Montgomery, I think, was the big thing to get Bergeron and Krejci to come back.
Yeah, that's a good point. And then as we went over this deadline, he went out and got Orlov and Hathaway, was able to dump Craig Smith's $3-point-something million salary, and then piled on with Bertuzzi and now with the David Pasternak. Those are literally all the move other side besides like waiving nobodies or cutting nobodies. Those are the moves that he's made in 18 calendar months. He doesn't have a bad one.
Orlov pretty much beat the Flames by himself the other night. He had 2 goals and 1 assist. I mean, he was on fire. That kid was playing like a purpose now. I mean, you're on a winning team now, so you're going to get the best out of these guys. So I love it. I fucking love it.
As it stands, the chances, this is how it's defined, chances of beating the Boston Bruins in a 7-game series, and it lists basically your playoff teams or in the East. The Maple Leafs have the best chance of beating the Bruins in a playoff series. You know what their percentage is? Of course you do because you're looking at it. 36.9%. That's it.
It's not good.
Doesn't get better from there. Hurricanes 32, Devils 30, Avalanche 30, Lightning 27, Calgary 25. You get the picture. I guess it was.
Yeah, this is all the playoff teams. These are all the playoff teams,
not just the East. It's very small print. You can see it. You can't really read it. Either way, you have a what's that math? 64% chance to beat everybody or better.
Pretty much.
You better win. You better win.
I mean, barring an injury, you think they win it all?
Man, barring a couple injuries. I don't know if Ulmark goes down, that hurts you. If McAvoy goes down, that hurts you. Other than that, you're gonna have to even if Bergeron goes down, you slide Krejci up and put Zacha there. Now you got Bertuzzi. If Hall comes back, like you got depth. They're in a pretty. I mean, Bergeron's super important, but
their depth is pretty big now too. So you can actually like rest players. Like you've been seeing the defensive swaps every other game now. So between Grzelcyk and Carlo, so
yeah, they're in really good shape. So
I mean, Clifton.
Yep, exciting day for the Bruins. Now it's just wait. We just gotta wait for the playoffs, which is a little bit boring. A little bit of anticipation here.
Well, it's nice though because we've had the Patriots that sucked, the Red Sox that have sucked. So now it's nice that we can actually wait and be like, yeah, the regular season doesn't start until playoffs begin.
That's basically what we're looking at. That's basically what we're looking at with this team and the next one. We'll talk about the other one right after headlines with the other.